Brandon Cutler from AEW. You're watching Cole TV.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pro Wrestling 60. I am very sick, and I don't mean that in the head. I mean I feel like garbage, which is French for garbage. XLJ the OG, but hey, I'm here, and I really need to blow my nose. But I am not alone. Oh no, no, no! I'm joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother. This week he's hailing from Green Bay, Wisconsin. I couldn't do his epic, but I'm literally gonna blow my nose. So it's Mr. B-Roll.
How are we doing out there, world? Look
Very
at this
sick.
look at this dedication, ladies and gentlemen. Working on the job, sick. This is what he gets paid to do. That's why he makes the big bucks here on PW60.
Where the hell is that paycheck? I do it because I love all of you, and I love you too, Mr. B-Roll.
And I love you as well. But you know, we can't start PW60 any other way, whether it's live, whether it's on recorded. We have to start it the same way
Because we're live
every
now.
single time. And since we are live, if you are here and you are watching, let us know. Let's get some engagement going here. Let us know. But the clock starts now, so let's get into it.
Let's
What
get
happened
into
this
it.
past week in professional wrestling?
All right. Our top story this week, Mr. B-Roll, it is official. NXT has a new home, and it's on the CW.
The C-Dub.
I gotta say, man, this one kind of came out of left field. I did not see this coming for obvious reasons, which we'll get into here momentarily, but it looks like the NXT is going over to the CW, signed a hell of a contract with them. I mean, this is obviously huge for a multitude of reasons, but mainly I think now, because I mean, this isn't like when they were on USA, this is like, my understanding is CW has just purchased the rights for NXT. So, I mean, this truly separates it as a separate brand. This isn't developmental anymore, folks. No, no, no. Like, this is freaking like a multi-million-dollar property. Mr. B-Roll, how surprised were you with this one?
Well, we thought the NWA was going to CW.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. But
I thought I had heard that maybe Raw was potentially on the table as well. So I don't know.
now, if that happens, it does make a lot more sense for this deal. But man, that is going to be such a weird world where Raw is not on USA, but SmackDown is. But I don't know. That could be part of this. It does seem like the CW is really wanting to get into the world of professional wrestling. Um, Obviously, with the rumors there with the NWA, I also do believe in syndication. They air Woman of Wrestling too, so it's very interesting to see like a top network like them. Like, I gotta ask you, like, what do they still show like Dawson's Creek on there, right? Like Dawson's Creek's on CW, right?
I
Like,
don't know.
they got
I know
Gilmore
the
Girls, right? Gilmore Girls is on the CW, right?
so the big shows
Flash,
for
Green Arrow,
Flash, Green
Smallville.
Arrow. Smallville was back in the day.
That's all I remember.
The
But
the
it's
Arrowverse, as they like to
Arrow.
call it.
Yeah, yeah, but it's still it's really cool, man. Especially seeing it on like on network television too. Like it's Yeah, man, NXT, if you hadn't thought it had arrived before for some reason, man,
Yeah.
they definitely are there now. And that's our top story of the week. NXT is gone to the CW next year.
Shoot, man, even if you're dealing with like the bunny years, you might get the CW.
This is true, man.
So,
But
I mean, there you go.
now on the flip side of this, we got to talk about this, Mr. B-Roll. It had appeared. Now remember, we didn't know for certain. It wasn't 100% that the NWA had signed with the CW. Um, big hypothetical. Does the NWA still end up on the CW?
Give me one moment.
Oh, okay. He's sick too. We're all sick. We're a bunch of sick people.
I'm not sick. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I see what you did there, and that's cute and adorable. Yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room. So the rumor is that at the NWA Samhain, I still know I'm saying that wrong, but at that pay-per-view there was a sketch with the Sinister Minister of all people, where there was a reference to some drug usage, and the word on the street, as the kids say, is that some CW executives caught wind of this, saw this, whatever, and instantly nixed the deal with the NWA. I don't know if that's really the truth there, because I feel like, okay, they signed that deal with NXT pretty damn quick if that's the case. I think it was like in the works, that they were wanting to get NXT. I think CW has been shopping around for like every different wrestling company. Now, this is what I think could very well possibly happen. Don't be shocked if the NWA does end up on the CW. But my understanding is kind of what I've read, and I think other people have seen this too, is it sounds like they may be on their streaming service only. So maybe not actually on like primetime television, but on the streaming service. And I think part of the deal, whether it's with CW or whoever, but part of this deal that the NWA has was the reality show, and they were able to gain access to Billy Corgan's wedding. So I don't know. Billy Corgan's still kind of staying close to the situation, just saying like, "Hey, deal's still in place." I never said CW. Details to come later on. I don't know. What do you think about all this, B-roll? Do you think that it's really that incident from the pay per view that caused them to lose the deal with CW, or do you think they even had a deal with the CW?
I think the bottom line is who really knows? And I think we'll know when we know.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I do think they end up somewhere. I'm not quite sure where. So. But it'll be interesting to see. I know there is like I've heard some rumblings. I think the town is kind of getting a little nervous about what's going on exactly, as they were pretty, amped up and excited. But hopefully everything. And once again, this is all rumors. This is all the dirt sheet. Yeah, I mean, you take that with a grain of salt, folks. I mean, the only thing that's sure is nothing's for sure. But the NWA, I do believe they still have something in place, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And we lost Mr. B-roll there for a minute, but we'll keep going on. Boy, oh boy, Damage Control is looking pretty big right now. As this past week on Friday Night SmackDown, we did find out that Kari Sane officially is now a part of the Damage Control. Oh, there he is. And then on Friday Night SmackDown in the main event, Asuka turned against Bianca Belair and Charlotte, and it looks like she is joining up with Damage Control. It's crazy to me, Mr. B-roll. I look back at like kind of the WrestleMania season, like actually when this show first started, and like two of the factions we were just talking about, like we're done with, like it's like they need to be put to bed, was the Judgment Day and Damage Control. Look at where we're at now. Like, how crazy is this? I mean, Judgment Day's been running roughshod through the WWE, and now like Damage Control stronger than ever. So let me ask you this, B-roll. Do you think Asuka officially is a part of Damage Control, or do you think this is like actually leading to a faction within a faction?
Oh, I'm going hardcore into faction within a faction. But I will say, doesn't that seem kind of obvious though too? But
Yeah.
you never know. But
Well, I think it's an
put it
interesting.
in the same context too, though. Putting your thinking cap on, I was thinking earlier today of like what a year for Kari Zane. In January she's at Wrestle Kingdom,
Oh
and then
yeah,
now she's like all the way,
back in the WWE.
wandered her way back to the WWE.
hmm This is true. This is very true, sir. Um, I do, yeah, I do think like I think it's what's interesting about this is like I think let's call Space Spade initially Bailey's kind of the leader of this faction, right? But like with Bailey, look at all the wrongs she did as a heel, to get to damage control, right? Like, and it's like now these ghosts from the past, so to speak, maybe like coming back and biting her on the ass. I think that's what the story's going to lead to essentially is as she like will not be or damage control just won't be anymore. But I love the idea of Asuka, Kari Sane, and Io Sky like teaming up together along with Dakota Kai in there. So, and it does look like I would assume this is probably leading to a matchup at Survivor Series as part of the ladies' Four Games match. Although I don't know if Dakota Kai is cleared yet, but still, though, I don't know. That's kind of what all signs are pointing towards. But man, oh man, Friday Night SmackDown was a super loaded show as we had not one, but huge big turns and changes in factions as Santos Escobar attacked Rey Mysterio Jr. at the beginning of the night and pretty much has put himself out of the LWO. Were you surprised with this move?
A little bit.
I mean, I wasn't surprised so much that it happened. I'm surprised it's happening now. I thought we had a little bit more time here, but man, oh man, just like that, um, they are no more. At least Santos Escobar is no more with the LWO. And it's kind of interesting too. Where do you think Santos goes from here?
Well, we'll have to. I don't know. I had a thought, and then
I mean, obviously a feud with Ray, but once we finish up with that, it's like
yeah.
okay.
I mean, he probably works his way through the LWO, and
Yeah, that. So we'll see what happens with him, but I think it's a move in the right direction. I think Santos works a lot better as a heel than as a babyface, honestly.
he's definitely going after Carlito first, probably, since Carlito probably.
And that's not cool, man.
Yeah.
But yes, it does look like Santos Escobar's affiliation with the LWO is no more. Also on SmackDown Friday night, we got to see Dragon Lee in a fun matchup against Cedric Alexander and LA Knight. Just berating Grayson Waller, and then we got to see a one-on-one matchup with LA Knight and Grayson Waller. And
speaking of berating Grayson Waller, I would like, while you're blowing your nose, to applaud one Mr. Kevin Owens on the commentary.
oh yeah, KO. That was fantastic, dude.
It was quite brilliant.
Yeah, that was some good stuff, pal. Let me tell you.
Sorry, guys. I think I got to go get suspended.
Yeah, that was really good. I thought that was a fun little add-on, if you will, to Friday Night SmackDown. But overall, SmackDown was a great show, man. But we are on the road to Survivor Series, Mr. B-Roll, which is crazy to think it's like what 2 weeks away or something like that, if that. And we do know officially that War Games will be happening, and we do know that the Judgment Day, of course, we're talking Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough will be going to war against the team of Cody Rhodes, Seth freaking Rollins, Sami Zayn, and main event Jey Uso. What do you make of this foursome here with Cody and his team?
The fearsome foursome.
Fearsome foursome.
Just doesn't feel like a War Games just yet.
I think there's going to be shenanigans, especially here on the Monday Night Raw tonight. That is going to lead to this matchup changing. I've heard a couple things. Not going to talk about them here on the air, but we'll have to see what happens here on Monday Night Raw, and we'll be talking about them next week. The one thing,
The babyface team is going to have a mystery reveal at the pay-per-view, and it's going to be Randy Orton.
oh, I thought you were going to, well, I'm glad you said whose name should not be said on this show, because I'm tired of talking about him all freaking year. But yeah, I think they're going to announce that beforehand. But anyways, we're talking about stuff that we don't officially know yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But excited that War Games is coming back. By the way, is Adam Pearce like the new William Regal now? You think? Did he replace him with the War Games like catchphrase? You think? I mean, he
Not
did a
in
pretty
my,
good job on Monday.
not in my book.
No, I agree. Not in my book. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's no William Regal, sir. Thank you
No.
very much. Now we do know some other matches going into Survivor Series, as we will see Zoe Stark challenge Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship, as Zoe would win a Battle Royal on Monday Night Raw, as well as The Miz would win a number one contenders four-way match, and he will challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Survivor Series. So, a little update to the Survivor Series card there. But yeah, let's talk about Monday Night Raw, which we got to see the Judgment Day go up against the New Day. We mentioned before The Miz and Zoe Stark winning those respective matches. How about that main event, though? Excuse me. Seth Rollins going up against Sami Zayn, man. And that kind of all leading to the fall to build to War Games. But Monday Night Raw was very impressive one. I can't talk. I have phlegm in my throat, but we're live, pal. And I've lost B-roll. What's going on? Anyways, but Monday Night Raw, solid show this past week. Now, over in AEW, a little bit of a shocker. Samoa Joe, after defeating Keith Lee in a phenomenal matchup on Dynamite, proclaimed that he has pretty much done everything he could with the Ring of Honor television title and vacated the TV title. That's right. Laid it down in the ring in Dynamite to focus more so on challenging for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Not surprised in the sense that like he's kind of focusing on that, but a little surprised he went ahead and vacated it. But at the same time, too, what else was he going to be able to do there with the TV title that he hasn't already done? I mean, he's already broken the record for the longest reign. He's done virtually everything he can. Oh, there he is. You okay, buddy?
I am okay. It's just pulling the curtain back. It's a little bit hectic around here these days, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah.
Life
As
happens.
like my
Wear a helmet.
not to get too graphic, but as my throat is filling with phlegm. Anyways, tell us your opinions here on Samoa Joe vacating the title.
Yeah, I mean, coming as a bit of a shocker, but it makes sense all at the same time. But like, I will say this: I really I loved the execution of it. Just kind of like he had his match, he kicked some butt, and then it was just like bada bing, bada boom. He left the title in the ring, and it was just like I loved it.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty kick ass. So, well, we'll see where Samoa Joe goes from here. Will he be the MJF's partner at Full Gear? We're gonna find out here really soon, this upcoming Saturday night. And also this week on AEW Dynamite, we found out that Mariah May is all elite. She's officially signed with AEW, one of the hottest free agents out there. Phenomenal wrestler, phenomenal performer from the world of Stardom. And it already looks like maybe she's going to be teaming up or following around Tony Storm. I'm here for that. I've always been a big fan of her. I loved her like as part of like Club Venus with Mina Shikara. B-roll. How excited are you for the glamour that is Mariah May?
Pretty excited. I will be honest. I'll pull back the curtain. I do not know a whole lot about her career, other than that she is from Stardom. Um, so I did employ our good friend, the Light Skin Gaijin, to suggest some matches for me, and I have going to begin working on watching some of those matches.
Well, there you go. Well, at the end of Dynamite was a pretty explosive showing as these masked men once again attacking the Acclaimed, and then the Devil showed up, Mr. B-roll. Pretty interesting stuff, man. MJF, it is very interesting what is going on in his like right now on AEW with all these different challengers coming out of nowhere, with Samoa Joe, with the Wardlow, obviously with his problems going on with the Bullet Club and Jay White, with stuff going on with the Kingdom, with his best friend Adam Cole out. What do you what do you think about this segment, like from Dynamite? Because I mean, it was suggesting pretty much that like if you're friends with MJF, like you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Basically, and
Mind
we all
games.
we all have our opinion
We
on
do,
who.
and I'm so glad you said that because we're going to go to our Tribal Queen for the Tribal Queen tidbit of the week, and Husky Rhodes is going to chime in with his hot take as well on this situation. So let's go to them now.
Hi everyone, this is your Tribal Queen Bree reporting from the Tribal Queen's royal car with your Tribal Queen tidbit of the week. And I kind of have a question I want to ask everybody. This isn't pertaining to my two favorites, Austin Theory or Wardlow, but with Full Gear being next week, do you think we're going to see the unmasking of the devil? And could it be CM Punk, or could it be Adam Cole, or it could be somebody that we haven't thought of yet? Like, that's kind of something I've been thinking about. Who could it be that is attacking everybody? I kind of am going to go the predictable route and say Adam Cole. It could be him. But if he's cleared, which I hope he's cleared in order to be doing all that. So that's just what I'm going to go with. But it's kind of the question I wanted to ask everybody. But that was your Tribal Queen tidbit of the week.
What's going on, my fellow Hoosier brethren? So, this person in MJF's devil mask has been taking out all of his friends. Who do we think it could possibly be? My first thought is we've all been worked, and it's CM Punk. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, come on. Who's buying that? In all reality, though, I think this is where we get the Adam Cole heel turn and the Kingdom reunites and takes over AEW. What do you boys think?
So everybody's talking about the devil, man. They want to know who the devil is. All right, you ready for my hot take?
Well, I already know it, so share with the class.
Yes. All right. This is one that's going to come out of left field, but at the same time, it's obvious and plain as day. It's not who anybody is talking about or anybody has thought of. The devil, we're going to find out, is one Britt Baker. Now, hear me out.
What?
Hear me out. I go back to a week ago. Remember that video, the Doja Cat video come out, in the part where it says, the devil, who did it show?
Britt Baker.
Britt Baker. The hints are there, folks. Let's read between the lines. And I think here's the reason why. Britt Baker is going to be the devil. The reason behind all this, because she has felt slighted against the four pillars. Because, in fact, she should be a pillar of the company, one of the four pillars, or the pillar. So what better way than to go after the top guy in MJF? And I think it's going to make a compelling story because it's like Adam Cole is going to actually not really know about this. And it's going to be like, do I go with Britt? Do I go with my best friend? What do I do here, you know? I don't know. That's my thoughts. I think it's going to be Britt Baker, and I think it's going to be a pretty badass story if they pull it off. But who knows? Real quickly here, Mr. B-Raw, I got to ask you this. Do we get the reveal at Full Gear, though?
I think if they do it, they're rushing it.
I do too. I think it makes perfect sense for it to be at World's End. I think that's where you see it. And I will say this: I do think Britt is employing or working with the Kingdom. Um, I will say, and also let me throw another hot take out here: are you returning Kyle O'Reilly? So it's going to be like all of Adam's friends essentially. So it like I say, it's going to be an interesting to see if they go that route or any route they go. So.
Yeah, it's far fetched, but I don't know. I mean, the obvious answer seems like it's Adam Cole, but
I'll throw you another one here who I don't think it is, but man, oh man, you talk about mega heat. What if this is how they bring Jack Perry back in?
yeah.
That'd be crazy, but I don't think that's what it is. But we'll find out soon enough. But hey, let's talk about the rest of AEW Dynamite, which was a loaded show. Kicked off with a classic for the AEW Championship with MJF defended against Daniel Garcia. Got to see Sting and Darby Allin in action going up against the Outrunners. What about the interview there with Tony Storm and Sheeta? Oh my gosh. Everything Tony Storm's doing. We talk about that here week in, week out. I just love her so damn much, man. Of course, we mentioned Joe and Keith Lee earlier. The Guns were in action. Julia Hart in an impressive matchup against Red Velvet. But let's talk about that main event, man. Jay White going up against Mark Briscoe. That match was awesome. Back and forth. Incredible. Like there was moments, man, where I thought somehow Mark was going to do it, but it didn't happen. But it was an amazing matchup with two great workers. And of course, that's going to be our match of the week here on PW60. Also, this week, we got to talk about Rampage as FTR went up against Commander and El Hijo del Vikingo. Damn, what about that spot with Vikingo hitting the table? Jesus, did you see that?
Mercy.
I was like, God, dude, like for real, it's you're gonna kill yourself. And then also we got to see the Kingdom in action and Ricky Starks going up against Preston Vance. Pretty decent Rampage. We've talked about it here the past couple of weeks. I feel like Rampage is getting a lot better. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. I'm gonna say this. I feel like a little hidden nugget story that I'm kind of loving that AEW's doing right now is this whole like Romeo Juliet story.
Oh, with Ruby and
Angelo Parker.
Yeah, that is pretty fun.
I kind of dig it. I love the part where like Saraya and Matt Menard were like, "We got a problem." Yep, big problem.
And of course, we are just days away from Full Gear. It's going to happen this Saturday from the Kia Forum in Los Angeles. Of course, we know a good bulk of the card, but we got some matches added this week. Big one. How about the Golden Jets, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho going up against the Young Bucks? We do know that the tag titles will be on the lines too in a fatal four-way as Ricky Starks and Big Bill defend against FTR.
FTR, House of Black, and LFI.
Thanks, buddy. And then we do know the TBS Championship will be on the line as Julia Hart will challenge Chris Statlander as well as Sky Blue and whoever wins between Sky Blue and Red Velvet, aka Sky Blue. I mean, it's plain as day. We know we're getting this three-way at Full Gear because of the story with Sky and Julia Hart. Jumping at the bit there. What you got?
Well, Chris retains, but I think Sky finally turns.
Yeah. You're
Attack her
right.
after the match.
And we also did get we found out that the Hangman Swerve 2 matchup is not going to be any matchup. It's going to be a Texas death match.
I will say this too. The Golden Jets and the Bucks match. I mean, that one escalated like 0 to 100 real quickly, but
yeah,
the way it was executed and how Kenny was just like, you know what, we've been down this road before, and he was just like, come on,
yeah. So Full Gear is looking like a solid show this upcoming Saturday. Got some big news coming out of AEW this week. The Continental Classic has been announced, and it is finally AEW is doing a round robin tournament. This is a 12-man tournament. These matches will be competed all throughout. I think it was November the 22nd kicks off, and up until pretty much the end of the year, you'll be seeing these matchups. So this is going to be like a much smaller version of the G1. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna be in it, and the finals will be at World's End. But we do know one candidate who will be in it, and a little bit of a surprise. It was announced that Bryan Danielson will be returning from injury a lot sooner than we anticipated, as he will be a part of the Continental Classic. Were you surprised to see Danielson is going to be returning to the ring so quickly?
I don't know, but I feel like he needs to totally adopt a pirate gimmick. Arr.
Yes, he does. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I'm hoping he's fully healthy. I'm assuming he is, obviously, but we knew we were going to get him back for Wrestle Kingdom, but looks like we're going to get him a lot sooner than that. So I'm really excited for this Continental Classic too. I can't wait to see like how it goes down. I love round robin tournaments.
Well,
Like,
and
there's
if
just
you want,
something fun about
we
it.
kind of got confirmed that Bryan Danielson's wrestling up. He's wrestling all the way till All In as well. So we know that.
Yeah, which it appears Matt may be where his swan song is over. I don't know. We will wait and see. But nonetheless, Bryan Danielson returning from injury and will be a part of the Continental Classic at AEW. Well, to round out AEW television for this week, let's talk about Collision on Saturday night. Excuse me. And I gotta say, man, once again, knocking it out of the park. How about the opener? Andrade El Idolo going up against Daniel Garcia, dude. We're gonna come back to that in a minute, but the biggest thing out of that is Andrade now looks like he has a business partner in CJ Perry. Miro didn't look too happy, did he, B-Roll?
Nope, not in the least bit. We also saw Willow and Julia Hart in a banger of a match, if I do say so myself.
Qualifier, as Julia Hart ended up defeating Willow to qualify for Full Gear. We also got to see Dalton Castle go up against Nick Wayne. I'm liking seeing Dalton Castle on my TV these past couple weeks. Just wish the outcome was slightly different, but I get it for this matchup.
Yeah, we just need to get him some W's. It's all right. It's all right.
LFI going up against the Workhorsemen, which that's another one I'm excited to see them continue to be used on television. The Workhorsemen, so I think that's pretty cool. And I want to go back though, oh gosh, the main event. We got to see the dream team of Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland go up against the Righteous and Lance Archer. Just still surreal to see like Adam Copeland and Sting like in the ring together. That's just like something I never thought I'd see, especially in 2023. It was pretty dope. But like I say, I want to go back to the opener. Daniel Garcia against Andrade El Idolo. Daniel Garcia has been freaking killing it on TV here recently. I mean, he had MJF on Wednesday with a classic. Had Andrade. Honestly, both these matches could have been match of the week, but we do got to go say this with Daniel Garcia. He's our wrestler of the week here on PW60. Go ahead and do the dance. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, throw it up. Well, it's come that time of the show. We need to address that one of our good friends of the show is down right now with a little bit of an injury. And ironically enough, because it is Neck Awareness November, let's go to the Best Gout Machine and check in, see how he's doing as he's sustaining and suffering from a neck injury.
Adam! Driver was the best part of the movie, House of Gucci. Did you guys see that movie? Neither did I. Yeah, I want to talk about neck health and the fact that it's now no neck, November. And me personally, I'm injured. I'm hurt. I blinked way too hard recently and fucked up my neck. I tried using one of those, like, pencil sharpeners, but I did it, like, backwards, and I fucked up my neck. I bit into a Tootsie Roll way too fast, and I fucked up my neck. I illegally streamed an Impact Wrestling pay-per-view on Watch Wrestling, and I fucked up my neck. But yeah, I'm hurt, fellas, but I'll be back. I'll be back stronger than ever, because No Neck November has a mascot. Chaz. Unlike me, he can't hurt his neck, because, as it is evident, he has no neck, for he is the perfect representation of No Neck for November. No, never, never, never. Yes, Chaz has no neck for November, but you know who does have a neck? Shania Twain! Oh god, my neck! Ah! So, watch out for your necks, keep your beards full, and your pants empty. No Neck November! Alright, cut. Oh, thank God. This like itches like the dickens. Yeah, get it off me. Ah, shit. My neck's not even hurt. Kiss me.
Was that Antonio Inoka against Masa Saito, like on the island? I'm so confused. Anyways, we love you, Best Scout. And
Neck
we're glad
health,
that
though.
you're-
We are strong proponents of neck health awareness.
That's right. Well, hey, speaking of Best Scout, let's talk about one of his favorite promotions, which we rarely talk about here on PW60, which is a shame. But I think after this, we're going to start talking about it a lot more. DDT Pro Wrestling out of Japan had their Ultimate Party 2023 event. And I got to say, B-Roll, this was a loaded and unique show, to say the least. If you're not familiar with DDT Pro Wrestling, it's kind of a hybrid, unique style of wrestling. I mean, there's some pretty solid, like strong style, typical Japanese wrestling, but there's a lot of comedic elements to it as well. But this show was highlighted by several different moments. First off, of course, the big moment, Chris Jericho. One-on-one match with Takeshita. And this was a solid matchup. Honestly, it almost won the match of the week here on PW60. But this was a very excellent showing by both competitors. I was very surprised to see Jericho pick up the win, considering this Takeshita's like home promotion essentially. But Jericho proving that he is still the alpha. Interesting too, there was a handshake between these two combatants at the end of the matchup. So going to be interesting to see how that goes into AEW and the Dynamite this upcoming week, of course, with the street fight and going forward. But I gotta say, this is what got me this is what attracted me to watch the show. But it's, to me, like, as great as this matchup, there's other things I remember out of this show that I was like very impressed with. First off, we got to see the retirement of Sakai Akai, which I butchered that, I'm sure. I apologize, but as it was her retirement matchup, as she teamed with her longtime partners Yukio Sagachi and Hideki Otani, as they went up against Naomi Marufuji. I can't speak. Kazuchika Hugochi and Miyu Yamashita. Pretty solid 6-person tag, man. A great trios matchup. They gave her like a really awesome send off. So it made me so interesting. Like, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of her matchups because they showed like a package of her career and stuff, and it looked very interesting. So I have to check that out. Speaking of interesting, we got to see the DDT Universal title on the line as champion Matt Cardona defended against Mao. And you can see here, Yoshika did run in to kind of fill in for the referee, but ultimately at the end of the day, Mao did win the DDT Universal title from Matt Cardona.
If you have not seen Matt Cardona's mask and like headwear that he wore, you need to do yourself a favor and go check it out. It was pretty legit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But the match that probably stood out, like not so
Stole the
much.
show.
I wouldn't say. I don't know if I'd say stole the show, but it was the weirdest match I've ever seen. The heavy metal title, the DDT heavy metal title, was on the line. So Hiromu Tanahashi defended against Kazuki Hirati, and this was a fever dream of a matchup. So to kind of put it in perspective, the heavyweight or the heavy metal title is kind of the equivalent of the 24/7 or like a hardcore title. But it was weird because they did it kind of in a rule set, kind of similar to they do the Heritage Cup on NXT. So there's rounds, but each round's like a spin the wheel and there's a different stipulation. Dude, some of these stipulations were bizarre. Like everything from like a dance off to like I think they had a pose off at one point. A blindfold, remove your opponent's brassiere stipulation.
La.
Yeah, they had a handicap match and it ended up being like Yoshika come out to team with Hirati, and then Yoshika was like the special referee for this matchup at one point. Now, as crazy as all that was, it's the finish, folks. So Hiromu Tanahashi did retain the heavyweight or the heavy metal title, but as he was celebrating, he was laying down on the ground and happened to have his IWGP Junior Championship with him as well. It just so happened to be the Junior Championship actually was laying on top of the heavy metal title. And in DDT Pro Wrestling and with these rule sets, inanimate objects can win championships. So yes, the IWGP Junior Championship made history in the world of wrestling as it became the first ever title to win another title. I never thought I would say that sentence in my life. And then, of course, Hirati would come in and pin the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship to retain the heavy metal or win back the heavy metal championship. Are you still following me, B-Roll?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
This was crazy. But I gotta say, this is probably the highlight of the show. Honestly, it was the main event. An incredible story to be told for the open weight title as champion Chris Brooks defended against Yuki Ueno. A solid matchup, a classic matchup. Like, I just goes to show you this DDT Pro Wrestling show, man, like from top to bottom was a pretty solid effort. And like it was a unique blend kind of showing like what all they can do, what all they bring to the table. And you can, I believe it's what's the streaming service you can get this on?
Wrestling Universe.
So it's only like $6 or something. You should definitely check it out. So, and then, of course, that wasn't the only Japanese show that was happened this weekend, as well as New Japan's hosted the Lone Star Showdown in Texas. Pretty solid show. Some highlights: Speedball Mike Bailey challenged Zack Sabre Jr. Of course, Zack Sabre did retain the TV title, as well as we got to see Eddie Kingston against Kojima for the Strong Championship. Mayo Iwatani retained her IWGP Women's Championship in a phenomenal matchup. And in the main event, we got Shingo Takagi retaining against Trent Beretta. And it does look like we're going to get Shingo Takagi against Tama Tonga for the Never Openweight title at Wrestle Kingdom in Tokyo Dome. That's the best I can do, buddy. I'm sorry. Well, it's come that time of the show. We need to spice things up a little bit. So let's go to Spicy Guac with a spicy take.
Spicy Guac asking the question, with Iron Savages getting the time of eating ass on AEW television. Why did they release Brian Pillman Jr. and Brock Anderson? And why Sonny Kiss when you have, great talent like, Slim J and all? Like, what is going on?
He's not wrong. I mean, yeah, it is kind of confusing and perplexing at times. Well, hey, at the top of the show, we talked about NXT signing with CW, but let's talk about NXT from this past week. Another solid card, man. A lot of progression. How about that Laya Valkyrie promo? That was a pretty awesome moment. We got to see Tiffany Stratton finally go one-on-one with Fallon Henley in the Iron Woman qualifier matchup. Also got to see Braun Breaker go up against Von Wagner. Great to see Otis on NXT as he went up against Drew Gulak, and Dijak against Tyler Bate for the Iron Survivor Challenge. But let's talk about that moment between Trick and Carmelo Hayes. What are you thinking, B-Roll?
Let's talk about it. But I don't know why Lexus King inserted himself into this.
I was gonna say that's the one thing I did like and enjoy about that.
I don't know if it was needed.
Yeah, but I think it's like it's kind of goes along with his character a little bit. He's kind of like a shit stirrer, so to speak. So I was okay with it.
But yeah, I'm sure you've seen it on social media. There's the look of, Carmelo Hayes does not look too happy during the embrace.
Yeah. So, well, keep tuning in every Tuesday night on USA for now for NXT. And hey, over on Thursday night, let's talk about Impact's show from this past week. Another great one. Tasha Steelz going up against Deonna Purrazzo. Absolutely adored that matchup. Finally get to see the confrontation with Tommy Dreamer against Crazy Steve. Not a huge fan of the outcome as that story has not yet to be finished. But we'll see it here in upcoming weeks. And then how about the main event too with Alex Shelley going up against Jonathan Gresham, man? We keep saying it, folks. If you're not watching Impact Wrestling, get with the program. Go check them out on their YouTube. Get Access TV. Do whatever you got to do, but you need to be watching Impact Wrestling because they are killing it right now. Well, B-Roll, no big surprise here. And we've lost him again. Will Ospreay. Oh, you had to get the lubricant, didn't you? Because we were talking about Will Ospreay. Sorry, not sorry.
No, I had to get the tissues ready.
So it now appears that WWE, although I wouldn't say now appears, but WWE is in serious contention for one Will Ospreay in 2024, man. I don't know. I still feel like he's going to AEW, but I think, like we said last week, I do think his days in New Japan Wrestling are done. But man, oh man, a lot of moves here as we're getting towards the end of the year for free agency. Because it also looks like WWE is seriously showing some interest, and some people have reported that they've already signed or going to sign Julia. Like she's going to be at the Performance Center in a couple months or something. I don't think that's truly official. I do think eventually she ends up there, but I don't think it's going to be that quick.
But yeah, I think we are in potentially maybe like a 3-month, 6-month period of like a very big free agency period that is gonna shape the wrestling landscape.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a huge year. That's gonna be the biggest story to start off 2024 is free agency, and we got more too. It does appear that Megan Bain has already signed with AEW, and we don't know this officially, but she has been working with Stardom. But apparently, when she gets back in the States, it does look like she is going to be All Elite, which I'm for. I love her work. She's a phenomenal athlete and wrestler. Also, we found out this week that former NXT star Sari has signed with Sukidan, which is the which is the American Joshi promotion here. The one that's got Bull Nakano as their general manager. And it does seem like NXT signee Alexis Lurie has been released. but apparently Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade didn't have hurt feelings about it. I didn't know a whole lot about her. I've heard some rumblings and stuff, but I don't know.
I just knew she was a Hoosier.
Oh, is she really? Was she from Indiana? Oh, well, damn. Oh, well. Win some, lose some. Also this week now, it was officially announced that Allie or the Bunny has wrapped up with AEW. Now, it hasn't officially come out that the Butcher and the Blade are done with AEW, but it's looking like that's probably the case. Whatever they do, man, they're gonna kill it because they're phenomenal trios. Like I've always loved Allie back to her Impact days, so I'm excited to see what they do going forward. And speaking of excitement, our good friend Sienna Chanel, as you know, she does a lot of work with South Bay Championship Wrestling, and they just celebrated their 2-year anniversary. She had a busy night Saturday night. Mr. B-Roll, check this out.
What up, SCW crew? This is your girl, Sienna Chanel, or SC for short. I'm here with making his debut for South Bay Championship Wrestling, Don Cirrus. So, Don, you're facing off against another opponent that is debuting here at South Bay Championship Wrestling. How do you feel? Do you have any game plan in mind?
Well, yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. First and foremost, though, thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here. I'm so excited to make my debut here. And yeah, Butch Sawyer, I've had a few run-ins with him and his little gang. They've done some cheap tactics, so I know pretty much all their tricks. I'm not too worried about it. I'm here. I'm ready. Got to make my debut. Got to make a great impression.
This is your girl, Sienna Chanel, or SC for short. I'm here with one of the very famous comic book illustrator, Guy Slawinski. Hey, Guy, I want to say is congratulations of releasing the brick.
Thank you.
How does everything is doing, and whatnot?
So the brick's going great. Since I debuted at SCW over the summer, I've released all 3 issues now. It's been really fun to be at the SCW show selling it.
What up, SCW crew? This is your girl, Sienna Chanel, or SC for short. I'm here with making his return since the debut of South Bay Championship Wrestling 2 years ago, the timeless Levi Shapiro. Hi, Levi. How's it going?
Hello, SC. It's good to see you again. And hello again, South Bay Championship Wrestling. For it is the timeless one, Levi Shapiro. I have returned, and I've returned to do a few things. Let's see. I've returned to reclaim my title as king of the territory. You see, I've had a few injuries. That's why you haven't seen me in the past 2 years, South Bay Championship Wrestling. But tonight, that all changes. Because one step further to king of the territory, and that's becoming the Silicon Valley champion.
What up, SCW crew? This is your girl, Sienna Chanel, or SC for short. I'm here with the first and the longest SCW heavyweight champion, Chemo. So, Chemo, congratulations on becoming like the longest and the only SCW heavyweight champion. How does it feel?
No, it's great. This is 2 years of dominance that I've shown here at SCW. So, expect another 2 more years, hopefully.
Sienna Chanel, or SC for short. I'm here with the current SCW Women's Champion, the Emo Queen, Brooke Havoc. Now, Brooke, you've been successfully defending the title ever since you won that SCW Women's Championship back in March, and you're facing off against one of the ruthless, the toughest opponent, Rekka Tahaka. Are you ready to defend that beautiful title?
Am I ready to defend this title? I've main evented show after show after show, won match after match after match. I could even argue that I've main evented the most shows out of all the SCW champions.
April Sienna Chanel, or SC for short. I'm here with the new South Bay Championship Wrestling Women's Champion, Reka Tahaka. Now, Reka, you successfully won that SCW Women's Champion off from Brooke Havoc in a very phenomenal match. Do you have any thoughts about what's been going on?
Well, first of all, I would just like to say what an honor it is for South Bay Championship Wrestling to have me as.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Michael with another independent wrestling report. First off, we have Pop Pro presents Cold as Ice, Friday, December 1st, 7 p.m. at the Joe L. Evans Community Center. That is 312 West Broad Street, Livingston, Tennessee. General admission tickets are $10. Number 2, we have Pro Wrestling Entertainment presents their 10th annual Christmas for Kids. Saturday, December 16th, Richland Park Gym, 303 Portland Boulevard in Portland, Tennessee. Tickets are also $10. And lastly, we had Maryland Championship Wrestling presents Seasons Beatings. Frederick Elks Lodge 684. That is on 289 Willowdale Drive, Frederick, Maryland. And that is Saturday, December 9th. Doors for that open at 6:30. Bell time is at 7:30. Y'all have a good day.
Man, oh man, so much going on in the world of independent wrestling. And hey, speaking of independent wrestling, one of the more popular promotions out there, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, we found out, is on a little bit of a hiatus right now. Unfortunately, their promoter, Super Dragon, is dealing with some personal issues. His girlfriend's in a battle with cancer, so we want to wish her well here from PW60. Hopefully, she can kick this thing in the butt. But they did say Pro Wrestling Guerrilla will be back next year before you will see a show from them. Also, we found out this week that Satoshi Kojima will be returning to MLW. This is huge in the sense that you got to keep in mind Kojima was a longtime champion from MLW over a decade ago. So it's going to be awesome to see him back in an MLW ring. Speaking of talent moving around to different promotions, did find out this week that the Gates of Agony will be part of the World Tag League at New Japan Pro Wrestling. I honestly think this is like the best move for them. I mean, this is going to be a huge shot in the arms for them because I feel like they kind of just really get lost in the shuffle. But them getting to go over, represent AEW, work for New Japan, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. And hopefully they have a good run there at the World Tag League. But perhaps the biggest story here, yes, Andrade El Idolo is coming to GCW. Holy shit. Yes. Andrade El Idolo will be working at the December 9th Los Angeles show, the January 12th Chicago show, and the January 26th Tampa show. You'll be able to see him at all three of these GCW shows. That is huge, man. How excited are you to see Andrade in GCW?
It makes it tempting to go to Chicago.
I was just thinking that, my friend. Well, this week we found out that Tetsu Naito was having eye surgery. This is the third one he's had, as Naito has had some issues in the past with blurred vision. And my understanding is like this is the last one. So hopefully this works and he'll be able to have be able to see normally and have a healthy life the rest of the way for him. But Naito suffering from some eye issues, but we here at PW6 wish him well and can't wait to see him at Wrestle Kingdom in Tokyo Dome. Also, speaking of surgery, we found out that John Cena had some surgery on his arm this week. Not sure exactly what that surgery was, just know it was surgery on his arm. So hopefully John Cena's doing well. And speaking of John Cena, we found out that the John Cena Wile E. Coyote movie that had been shot for Warner Brothers has apparently been canned. what the blue hell? Like, they were making a Wile E. Coyote movie with John Cena. Where the hell was I on this? I didn't know that was happening. You talk about random, dude. And speaking of random, let's go to Brian with Brian's random moment.
Hello again. No, I'm not at work like I was last weekend when I recorded the PW60 segment with the ink all over my work clothes and earmuffs. I'm sitting in the vehicle of random, and I want to bring to you the PW60 Brian's Random Moment of the Week. Continuing to look at factions and your ultimate versions of those factions. Last week we looked at the Corporation from the Attitude Era. I want to move forward about 15, 20 years from that time to basically the 2010s follow-up on it, the version of it, you might say, of the Corporation. The Authority started it for SummerSlam in 2013 when Triple H, after Daniel Bryan won the WWE title, beating John Cena, Triple H attacked him, allowed Randy Orton to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and become WWE Champion, starting the Authority storyline. And there's a lot of pros and cons, positives and negatives from that time. Of course, I want you to, we're going to do it much like last week, where the non-wrestling figures, you can keep them if you want, and build your active wrestlers in that stable, in that faction. So I went with 5 last week for the Corporation, like if you wanted to keep Ken Shamrock, so on and so on. You can do the same thing with the ultimate version of the Authority. Now, of course, Triple H wrestled semi-part-time, technically, but we won't count him on this one. We'll just keep him, Stephanie, as the head figures outside and whatnot. So, active wrestlers, you can keep all 3 members of the Shield as the Shield. You can keep Kane in there when he was semi-part-time wrestling. You can take him out. You can put anybody in. Do whatever you want to do on it. Build your ultimate version of the Authority and explain in the comments how and why and all that good stuff. So there you go. Have a great week and enjoy more PW6 to the 0.
Oh, Brian, we love you, buddy. And speaking of love, we always love our Wrestle Talk content creators. And this week, the Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week is somebody we know very well. It's the Will Gray. Now, recently here on TikTok, he's been putting out a ton of these videos about like connecting himself to, like, you leave a comment of a wrestler's name, and within 5 pictures or less, he can somehow, it's kind of like the 5 degrees of Kevin Bacon, only for wrestling. It's very interesting. And they've been able to connect him from everybody from freaking Leon Ruff to Brian Keith to Art Barr and even Ricky Dozan, just to name a few. Of course, you can catch Will over on World Championship Wreckage's podcast and YouTube channel, as well as the Botched Shots and Botched Spots and Chair Shots podcast. I knew I was going to booger that up, but anyways. But this week, the Ruby Ringside, the creator of the week is the Will Gray, and if you're not following, give him a follow. And we mentioned earlier that Kevin Owens was doing commentary on Friday Night SmackDown. Well, there's a reason for that, as Corey Graves and Carmelo has welcomed their first baby boy together into the world. Congratulations to them. Also this week, it was announced that the WrestleMania lineup is set, as Friday night, April 5th, will be SmackDown, followed by the Hall of Fame. NXT Stand and Deliver will be on April the 6th. And Monday Night Raw will be the day after Night 2 of WrestleMania on the 8th at the Wells Fargo Center there in Philadelphia. And hey, I know somebody else who's going to be there. Hi. We'll see you there, folks. Cole TV is going to be there strong and represent. And finally, Dudley Do-Right apparently has sold all of his stock. No. This evil, maniacal son of a bitch apparently is in the process of selling more than 8 million shares of WWE stock that is up for sale. It's one step closer to folks where this old fucker just goes off into retirement and we never see this piece of garbage again. I said what I said.
I feel like it's all part of a plan.
Don't say that. Don't talk that into existence, B-roll. Like this fucking like 1930s like villain needs to just go away and be done. I don't want to see him with this pencil thin mustache, his stupid ass hair, his stupid face. I'm done with talking about Vince McMahon, and I hopefully this is leading to his like demise and finally be outed from the WWE. Like the one thing I will say this is I do believe like TKO is like, okay, we need to get rid of him because he's a liability, because he is at this point. But anyways, I said what I said, folks, and I meant what I meant. Well, Mr. B-Roll, somehow, by the grace of God, we've made it through another episode, and I didn't vomit. Yay!
Good job.
But
I'm so proud of
do
you.
feel very nauseous, so that may change in a couple of minutes. But nonetheless,
Well,
it's going to wrap it up.
At least we didn't have to talk about CM Punk.
You son of a bitch. That's going to wrap it up for this. I love you, buddy. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of PW60 Live. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by Mr. B-Roll, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Pro Wrestling City. Everybody have a great week.